Never miss the news that matters to you. Follow WWAY on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Now, here's Chief Meteorologist Scott Dean with your WWAY Storm Track 3 AccuWeather forecast first.
Well, it turned out to be a warm day out there as temperatures made it into the low 60s or 70s rather, and we're still at 64 right now on top of our roof. Looks like one more warm day before some changes arrive for the weekend. We'll have the details coming up. WWAY News at 11 starts right now.
This is the place for news that matters. You're watching WWAY News at 11.
Now on WWAY News at 11, it's been 6 months since Hurricane Florence made landfall. So where are we now? Plus, NC State is representing in space, the latest on the mission that is out of this world. And a look at a legend in the making, Jaime Bullock soars and jumps into a new personal record. Thanks for joining us tonight for your News at 11. I'm Amanda Fitzpatrick. Breaking news at 11. Multiple people were killed during a shooting attack. It happened in New Zealand Friday. A gunman opened fire inside a mosque. The gunman, who was dressed in tactical gear, appeared in a live stream video of the shooting on social media, documenting his trip from his vehicle and then into the worship center where he opened fire indiscriminately. We'll have more information as it becomes available. Back in Wilmington, 2 brothers now face charges in a shooting that injured 1 woman and grazed another. The shooting happened on March 4th on Enterprise Street in Chadbourn. One of the women was shot in the head and had to be airlifted to New Hanover Regional Medical Center. 28-year-old McKinley Freeman Jr. and 26-year-old Michael Jerome Jordan are both charged with 2 counts of assault with a deadly weapon, inflicting serious injuries. Freeman and Jordan are being held under a $15,000 bond. They will have a first appearance tomorrow. The Chadbourn police chief says more arrests are expected. A Wilmington man is in stable condition after being shot Tuesday afternoon. The Wilmington Police Department identified the victim in Tuesday's shooting as 28-year-old Diallo Deshaun Ross. The incident happened at 2:10 p.m. near the intersection of South 6th Street and Mirror Street. No arrests have been made in connection with the shooting. If you have any information, contact WPD or use text a tip. It was 6 months today that Hurricane Florence made landfall at Wrightsville Beach. While many communities are getting back to normal, a number are still struggling to recover. This was what it looked like 6 months ago as Florence made landfall as a Category 1 storm, along with winds measured as high as 105 miles per hour at the Wilmington Airport. Florence crawled through the region, dumping nearly 3 feet of rain in some places. The storm's legacy of flooding and damage will not be soon forgotten. In New Hanover County, just one area that suffered extensive damage due to the storm. Many still recovering there too. WWAY's Matt Bennett spoke with the county manager. He now joins us in studio with an update. Matt?
Amanda, things have certainly come a long way since Florence hit our area 6 months ago. But in New Hanover County, there's still more work to be done and millions of dollars that have not yet been reimbursed.
As far as the cleanup and the debris, yes, we've got all that up. Over $30-some million that the city has spent just in the city and cleaning up that debris, and we've only gotten back $300,000 from Fremont.
Wilmington Mayor Bill Saffo stopping by the WWAY studio to discuss Hurricane Florence. Though it might be long gone, its effects are still being felt. The city of Wilmington and New Hanover County are still waiting to be reimbursed by FEMA.
We're in line to be reimbursed $9.5 million. We were one of the first local governments to be authorized for reimbursement.
County Manager Chris Coudray says the county will receive about half of the more than $20 million it spent on recovery. He says work to repair some government buildings, like the Alton Lennon Federal Courthouse, is still underway.
The federal government, to be consistent with reimbursement, wanted us to go through the process of soliciting for an architect and a general contractor to work together on the projects. And so we had to go through that, secured those commitments, and we'll be back in the courthouse, I believe, probably by the 1st of June.
Mayor Saffo says as the weather warms up and tourism dollars start to roll in, the economy will begin to rebound.
Our small business owners are the ones that have gotten impacted the worst in this storm. There's no doubt about it. And everywhere I go, I tell shop local.
On Monday, the New Hanover County Board of Commissioners will consider a recovery plan, which is intended to set policy and strategy around housing recovery, infrastructure recovery, and economic and business recovery. Amanda?
All right, thank you, Matt. Well, Pender County says the courthouse and the Hampstead Annex are still undergoing remediation. Court is currently being held in county offices and even available conference rooms. Also, nearly 270 Pender County residents have applied for the hazard mitigation program, which means that the property will be acquired by the government or elevated to reduce flooding risk. Officials in Brunswick County say it's going to take a long time for some residents to put all the pieces back together. A representative with the county says they have spent $19.5 million to date on Florence recovery efforts. North Carolina State Superintendent Mark Johnson is set to visit the area tomorrow. Noon 11, there were many areas of North Carolina hit hard by Hurricane Florence, including historic downtown New Bern, destroyed during Florence and recovering painfully slow. Jonah Kaplan takes us there to see exactly what is still ahead for the city and the residents.
Hurricane Florence was a mammoth storm 500 miles wide. Its devastating impact striking New Bern with a direct hit, more than $100 million in damage.
Builders are out there every day, cars are parked, you hear the hammers and the saws going, so it's really a delight to see that.
Mike Lentz's downtown restaurant among the more than 200 businesses damaged or destroyed.
So the water literally came up about that high.
6 months later, many bars, stores, cafes, they're open for business. Lentz's project taking a little more time.
We came in, we got a hose, we squeegeed everything, cleaned everything up. Really, I thought it was going to be good, but you know, you don't realize how much mold actually grows and how quickly it grows.
Most hotels, bed and breakfasts, they're open too, except for the DoubleTree, which the owner tells us is caught up in a battle with insurance companies. As downtown recovers though,
everything washed on the other side of her house.
Homeowners downstream struggling to stay afloat.
Had to do all new flooring inside, sheet rock up, tear everything out.
Robert Mosley's 3-bedroom home on Oaks Drive still off limits. Mosley, his wife, daughter, and grandson still living in this FEMA trailer.
It's rough. In there, you can't walk around in there. You bump into each other. You got one little chair you can sit down in. It's really rough.
Inside Mosley's home, still a rough scene. Same with many of his neighbors. He says moving back in later this summer will be one of the greatest days of his life.
Living in, laying back, taking it easy, on a good on that soft bed, chill.
Well, here's a little info on New Bern by the numbers. Again, the damage totaled $100 million. Crews have picked up close to 10,000 tons of trash and debris. That's enough to cover 600 football fields. Well, new tonight at 11, small North Carolina brewers and alcohol wholesalers, they raised their glasses today to what they call a legislative compromise that allows small breweries to keep control of their products longer as they grow. Legislators from both political parties and industry representatives announced an agreement in General Assembly bills that were filed this week to let small craft breweries sell double the amount of their beer annually on their own compared to what current law allows. Now, the legislation would allow the creation of a new classification of brewers that can help self-distribute up to 50,000 barrels a year. A member of the Wolfpack family takes a journey that's out of this world. How an astronaut is inspiring students and staff at NC State. And later in sports, he's ready to hit the track after taking home a big win. Jay Bullock's incredible story next.
And it looks like it's going to be another nice day at the beaches with temperatures warming up into the 70s, with some areas even warmer than that. But how long is this going to last? I'll let you know after the break. All right, looks like it's going to be a mild start to our Friday with temperatures staying in the 60s in many locations. We'll start off with some clouds, but I think we'll see at least some sunshine during the day, a breezy day. Those winds coming out of the southwest will propel our temperatures up to around 80 in the inland areas. Some areas may be a little bit warmer than that. Looks like rain chances will hold off until tomorrow evening, and even then we're not going to see a lot of rainfall with the front coming through. And then the cooler air starts to arrive as we drop back down into the 60s for highs Saturday into St. Patrick's Day, and that'll lead to a cool and dry most of next week as we end out winter and start spring on Wednesday.
All right, well, we want to follow up with some breaking news we first told you about at the beginning of the newscast. New Zealand's Prime Minister now speaking out after, again, fatal shootings that happened. They happened, we now know, at 2 mosques and Christchurch, again, in New Zealand, saying, quote, one of New Zealand's darkest days. That, again, is what the Prime Minister is saying. Police said there were multiple fatalities. A person is in custody. We'll have the latest on Good Morning Carolina. Good night.
You're watching ABC on WWAY TV3.